Well, good morning, beautiful people of planet Earth and all other sentient entities across the known multiverse, seen and unseen. It's a gorgeous morning. I'm up extraordinarily early. It's the 13th of August, 2025, and it's Wednesday, Woden's Day. Time is 7:17 a.m. It's freakishly early, isn't it? I woke up at 6:30. I was like, what? But I put myself back on CPAP last night, even though my lungs are still not great, because I was dizzy and weak yesterday. And if you saw my video yesterday, I bled all over my own YouTube channel, and it was cathartic and it was intense and it was fucking out there. I can't even believe that that video is still up. I expected it to be taken down, but they didn't, and I'm grateful for that, because it's my truth, it's my path, it's my healing, it's my credentials of who I am and who I was as a child and who I am now as a 60-year-old woman, and all the rotten, malingering, evil motherfuckers I survived, even in recent memory. It's astonishing, isn't it? I don't know how I do it, quite frankly. They, of course, it kind of was a targeted campaign, hoping I'd crawl away and crumble and just fall off my perch and die. And well, it's been a bit touch and go a few times, quite frankly, but this morning I woke up at 6 and I was like, here we go, babies. I'm awake and I'm here and I'm kicking on gas, and don't mind the smudges. I had my eyelashes done yesterday. That'll fade over the next few days. And I'm fighting forwards as I do every day of my life, and I'm living my best life. And well, I just hope I won't be Virginia Giuffre. I've been thinking a lot about her since her death a few months back. I probably shouldn't identify with her completely, because what she went through was way worse than I was put through as a child. But, it's not a competition or a trauma race to who's got the worst history and whose life is the shittiest and who's trying to make something out of it, who's trying to build back better and who's trying to blossom and who's trying to just get old and gracefully surrounded by love. And it's all she ever wanted too. I bet you anything. It's all she ever wanted. So, to you, Virginia Giuffre, I know more than anyone. $17 million from that low-level fucking entity that got away with it. Didn't change anything for you. Just gave you a bit of money and I guess, hope. Money will never fix what they've taken from us as children. The song that I often think of and sing when I think about that is, where do you go to, my lovely, when you're alone in your bed? I think of that often. I probably shouldn't, but because it's kind of a trigger for me, but it's an example of how great wealth and fame doesn't change the nitty-gritty suffering deep down underneath. It's why there was the 27 Club when all the famous rock stars all popped their clogs, suicided or overdosed, all around the age 27. 27 was a turning point for me when I started to realise my marriage was defunct and evil, and while I was out of there just prior to turning 30, it was the beginning of the end. But 27's pivotal in a person's life It really is. And turning 60 for me was also pivotal. Showed me who my true friends are and who has my back, my sides, and who was fake the whole time. And it's been painful. It's been fucking painful to come to that gnosis. But look, let's be real here. Wasn't the first time, won't be the last. I don't know what their agenda was other than hoping that I'd crawl away and die. And we all know the Tanya crawls away and dies for no motherfucking man. Ever. So, my lungs are a bit papery and wispy again because having air pumped into me, which I thought would be a good thing because I was so dizzy and weak yesterday. I really was. After that video, I was swaying like a sailor, hardly able to walk. It was really kind of a shock. I'm kind of in shock, permanently in some kind of fucking shell shock about the post-COVIDian epoch and the damage and the mental damage done to my people I thought were friends. People I thought were quite wonderful people turning rancid right in front of my eyes, by the gods. Well, anyway. Not everyone has turned rancid. Some of them are fighting for their humanity that's still inside of them, and I can see it. I can see the ones who are fighting for their humanity, keeping themselves together. And we're holding each other's hands across the multiverse, because you're out there, those of you like me, who are fighting for our soul and our humanity. And sometimes the mama tea gets a bit untethered, you understand, but when I'm very sick, my soul literally does what it did yesterday. Went on a fucking hurdy-gurdy ride, and I was in and out and angrier and wilder and fiercer, and then all of a sudden this great calm came across me, and I was like, had to happen, recalibrating from the brink of death itself and holding on to love, whatever shreds of love I can still hold on to, and striving to still have some dignity and honour and be a decent person and amongst all this global putrescence. But I want to show you, people of Earth, just look out my window with me a little bit. There's a beautiful light in the garden, the sun's out, it's very cold, but it's a promise of another lovely day. When it warms up, probably around about midday-ish, the mama tea, the Tanya, will be taking my little birdie boys outside, and I'll be grounding on the earth like I did 2 days ago. It actually helps, you know, just lying on the grass, feeling the earth supporting me, and being a natural wild little animal that I am. We're all animals at heart. Some are more animal than others though, but that's because they choose to be bestial. But some of us are sweet and loving and loyal and heartfelt and decent and noble, and amongst all our woundings and occasional outpourings of soul bleedings. Oh, did I bleed yesterday? By the gods. I'm leaving that video up. If YouTube's going to leave it up, Probably so some idiot who has got no couth or comprehension can laugh at me, right? I'm well aware of that, but I don't care because the truth remains the truth. And I reviewed that own video and I found myself going, you're right, Tanya, you go, girlfriend. I agree with that. There was nothing I said, although some of it was a bit ugly. There was nothing I said that I regret in any way, form or manner, because it was the truth. So I'm leaving it up there at the risk of looking like some kind of berserker, hysterical nutcase. It is what it is. Every now and then I get a bit berserker and a little bit histrionic. It's like, if you had my life, most of you wouldn't have survived it, trust me on that. The only reason I survived it was because I don't even know why. My psychiatrist says it's because of my innate defiance and my courage and my strength. He's probably right. That's the only reason I survived. That I knew, even as a child, deep down in my core and my soul and my heart, that no one had the right to take away my sweetness and my innocence and my God-given power. And it was a long, hard, grueling journey to get my power back. Oh, that was... So many people tried to take my power and eat me alive. Figuratively and literally at times. Eat me. Wow. Those of you who had a good feed of my energy because I gifted it to you willingly, you'll never be the same again, babies. You've been blessed by the Tanya. And those of you who stole energy from me because you're a low-level entity, motherfucking gimp. See, I can't stop myself, can I? I'm too real. But I know who you are. I know you well. Not biblically, but I know you well. I know you. I know you, and I will know you in any dimension of time and space. So my enemies that stole from me, you kind of fucked, because there's no escaping what you did to me. You can't be cleansed of it. You can't redeem yourself from it. It's a stain that stays on you for eternity, because I'm not a Christian and I don't do the victim suffering in your jocks turning the other cheek. So we'll be doing this dance again sometime in the future, my beautiful ones, my babies, my sweethearts, my darlings. And ask David Davidson. Ask David Davidson how that worked out for him. He'll tell you, but you have to ask him politely, you understand? Because he's in the spirit world and he knows the price that was paid for trying to destroy the Tanya when all she ever did was love. And love, believe it or not, is a far, far greater force than hate or revenge or grinding of the Mamatu's gears. It's a far more powerful magic and a force to be reckoned with. And those that loved me truly and honestly and honourably. They know what happens when certain souls try to destroy utterly the Tanya for no good reason other than they could. Anyway, I've thought about it. I backslided on my CPAP last night, so it actually was kind of a waste of time, but I thought it might make me feel less dizzy and weak because my body's used to having air forced into it. So yesterday I kind of went into kind of a shock. Oh well, it was only 2 nights without it. But you see, now I'm dependent on a fucking machine. I never wanted that. I never wanted that to people of Earth. But now I have a dependency on it. And but I feel better today. I tell you what I did after I left my hairdresser yesterday afternoon. I finished with her about 4:15. I was ravenously hungry, which was odd because I had breakfast before I went to see her. No, I actually had lunch. I had a bowl of soup. And then on the drive over to her, I had some Lindt chocolate, which was just delicious. It was special too. Wish I'd bought more of it. But anyway, so I had my, wonderful hair appointment. And, well, she's a beautiful woman. I love you, Kylie. I do. I only see her once every 7 or 8 weeks when I get my hair done. It's probably all she could possibly stand because I'm like, the whole time, can't stop talking. All excited and in a heightened state, It's loneliness, isn't it? It's fucking loneliness and isolation. But anyway, but I went after that to, can't think of the name, Red Rooster. It's on the way home, and I'll have an early dinner because I was ravenous. And it is a form of committing carbicide because I had a lot of chips and fried food. I always get pineapple fritters and chips with chicken. And I had that, about 3 or 4 days ago. So I said to the woman in Red Rooster, I said, I shouldn't be doing this. Second time I've had this meal in a week, and it's committing carbicide. I'm going to kill myself by eating all this fried, fattening food. And anyway, the man working there, they're both Indian, he just turned and stared at me. Why are you offended by that? People kill themselves with eating bad food. It's a way of doing it. It's a long, slow, hard way, and fuck. Anyway, maybe it hasn't occurred to them before that their food is killing people. But, we eat it by choice because it's yummy and it's chips and it's hot and it's sweet, and it's not them killing people. It's us choosing to eat shit. Am I right? But you know what? I got my meal. The young lass brought me my meal and looked at me into my eyes because they thought I was saying that I'm going to commit suicide, I think. They misinterpreted what I was saying. I just nodded and smiled, honestly. And so I sat down and I ate, tucked into my meal. And the first thing I ate was the potato and gravy, which is also very bad for you. Dipping the chips in it, and I tell you, each chip I was like, It was almost fucking orgasmic, people of Earth. That's how hungry I hadn't realised I was so hungry. Well, I haven't been eating much for 2 weeks because this thing took away my appetite. I was just all inflamed, all in my, esophagus. Everything I ate was just you know, repeating on me and refluxing and feeling nauseous. It was awful. I don't know what that was, but it was awful. So yesterday was really the first time that I was actually tasting the food and savouring it, and each chip was just fucking heaven. I swear to God, sorry God, but I swear to you, it was a very unhealthy meal, but it was just what I needed. So I ate the chips and I ate the pineapple fritters. I've been craving pineapple a lot, and I know why, because pineapple is actually good for your chest, for your lungs. Just kind of soothes it a little bit. Sometimes when I used to be out, you know, in the clubs, when I had bad bronchitis, and frankly shouldn't have been out, but I'm not contagious when I've got the bronchitis. It's just my lungs, you know, the way they react to everything. So, but sometimes I'll order pina colada because the pineapple juice and the coconut just calms it all down. So anyway, oh well, that's why I'm craving, you know, Tropicana meals or Paradise Packs or whatever the hell they call them. It's the pineapple I'm actually wanting. See, it's instinctual. It's like we are, as I said, we are animals. Anyway, I didn't eat the chicken. Just got to the chicken. I don't actually feel like that. Had a little bit. So I mainly had the gravy and the chips and the pineapple fritters. Oh my goodness. And I'm moaning like an animal. Actually, there was a man in the restaurant. He was like sitting like this, avoiding me because, wow, it was a bit semi-erotic, wasn't it? Some old chick walks in, hunkered over a meal going, oh, that's good. Oh my God, that's good. Yeah, I realise now it's funny. Now I'm laughing about it because it's funny, but it was a bit primal. But, you know, I'm not well and I'm hungry and I'm primal. By the gods. Anyway, it was a very nice meal. And I got home and I was still feeling, you know, a bit woozy and weak. And what did I do then? Oh, yeah, it was gorgeous. I walked into, you know, my studio, the Birdie Boys room. And just as I walked in, I said, hello, boys. And Kermie was, like he is now in his swing, but he was vigorously swinging it backwards and forwards, like really going to town, showing me how happy he was swinging. And so we were all very happy to be together again. And so what did I do after that? I did actually go to bed and watched YouTube videos and went to sleep relatively early. I've only slept 7 hours and woke up 6 o'clock. So I was like, well, there you go. Great. So I can't have gone to sleep early because 7 hours means I went to sleep at around 11. Actually, yeah, that'd be right. Because I was watching, I'm enjoying watching Polarity Josh about UFOs. I was watching him and watch something else. And I just lay there in my warm electric blanket, enjoying life, because fuck it, why not? But I woke up this morning and I said to myself, Tanya, you're going to stop wallowing in old ancient traumas. It's hard. I seem to be trapped in some kind of hell loop in recent months. It is kind of a hell loop. It keeps bubbling up like a fucking hot pool at Rotorua, just quietly fucking seething, and every now and then it shoots up like a geyser like it did yesterday. by the gods. And but I've made up my mind. If and when I get better, which I'm on the turn, now I've got my appetite back, and I held that food down. My body's probably still slowly digesting it, but I've held it down. I didn't have any nasty, didn't get vomiting or diarrhea or nausea or any of the other nastiness that I've been enduring over the past 2 weeks. So I've held that food down. That's a good sign. My body will extract whatever nourishment it can get out of that pineapple and chips. Look, I know. A psych, if he's watching this video, will be like, Jesus, Tanya, what are we going to do with you? 30 years of therapy and you still won't eat properly. I know, doctor. I know. I'm incorrigible. Anyway, I said to myself, girlfriend, you're beautiful, you're intelligent, you're talented, you're charismatic, and you're honest. It's time you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps and got back in the saddle of life and rode that demon to its penultimate end. So I'm thinking, what can I do with my life in the next 5 to 10 years till I get really old, which is an astonishing thought. So I've got to figure out a way how to write my book, or books, plural. I've got to make it in life. I'm sick of being shit-kicked by every low-level entity who are actually envious of my intelligence and my talents that I haven't even manifested into anything but just emanated on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, and they're jealous even of that. Small achievements actually makes me afraid to be a success. What would they do to me if I became wealthy and really famous? They'd have to kill me for real, wouldn't they? Because they're just so ignoble and ugly. Well, so far so good. They've failed to kill me. They did it in very subtle, invidious ways too. But I was too intelligent for them. I could see it all playing out, watching it all being laid out like a pack of cards flipped over in the wind. Mama T still holds all the aces, not because of her intelligence or talent, you understand, but because of my gods. You thought you were gonna destroy a vulnerable, sick, older woman who's a bit lonely and a bit pathetic, and you'd have a bit of fun at my expense and mock and deride me and drag me down, and you had me keel-hauled for a while, boy chick. You did. You and your ilk. But Mama T is queen of her own destiny. That destiny that fills you with so much trepidation and envy because you ain't got what it takes. You haven't walked the life-death life cycle like I have, to just keep bouncing back like a pinball wizard. Anyway, the gods and the angels have my back. How do I know? They woke me up way too early. I should be still in bed, healing my lungs and resting, but no, they said, get up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, live your best life, Tanya Aarons. Because the best way to live your life is one day at a time, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. And all those beautiful, soul-nourishing moments build a life one day. It's how it's done, people of it. The fabric of existence. So on that note, weaving the fabric of existence, that was major epic unraveling yesterday, so we'll be stitching it all back together very carefully and embellishing with, who's that? Professional decorating services. Must be something to do with the new house being built. But anyway, we'll be embellishing with diamonds and pearls and rubies, and we'll be shoring up the Shawshank Redemption. We'll be holding ourselves together and keeping it real and keeping it a bit precious. I know they've gone off, they're in the wrong street. Odd. Anyway, we'll be building a strong, solid tapestry. Grandmother Spider knows best. Weaving her little web of beauty and art and literature and peace and, wow, redemption. Snipping away all the connections to people that don't serve me and don't love me and don't have my back, my sides and my front, and were invidious and treacherous. Snip, snip, snip. Watch them fly free, but as I said, you ran after me, boy chick. You wanted something from me. I hope you got what you wanted. Your own satisfaction. I got something too. I did. Happiness and freedom. Joy and delight. And healing. He used me. Begged me to heal our mutual friend. Used me. Well aware. But as I said, those people that I healed, that I sent authentic love to, no regrets. I gave freely and willingly, fully cognizant that that one was trying to manipulate me and control me and use me. By that stage, I already had an inkling. Anyway, the only way to live your life is to live it without regrets. And on that note, we're going to read. I'm eating chippies for breakfast. See, I keep craving. I'm craving starch and potatoes. It's a bit odd. potatoes. Well, I'm, you know, 1/32 Irish. Something like that. My great-great-grandparents came from Dublin, Ireland. Potatoes. They escaped the famine, no doubt. Awful that was too. Awful. Chapter 18. Shaping up. A lot of people are in there, and he's written it THERE, prison, for a reason. Well, there are all kinds of prisons. There's open air prisons like the one I live in. There's the prison of your own mind, accepting limitations imposed upon you by evil entities who never really loved you and didn't have your back. That's an electrified barbed wire fence I keep grabbing and zizzing on because Denial's a long river in Africa. I mean, you have to laugh. It is a bit funny. Anyway, even in prisons, I don't know why I'm laughing. You see, it's part of the healing. I've got to the phase where everything becomes comedy now. I love it. Thank you, God and Goddess. Thank you, angels. I really do love it. I really do. Even in prisons, maybe it's just the chips talking. Even, I mean, you have to laugh. Oh well, anyway. Even in prisons, staff had to have some level of trust in the inmates. I need another cup of tea, by the gods. Prisoners were allowed to cut each other's hair with scissors. Ooh. And shave each other with old-fashioned straight razors. Jesus, I wouldn't be letting anyone near me with that if I was in prison. I would not be trusting anyone with that. While prisoners who did leather craft were given sharp knives and glue that could get them high. Most of the time, prisoners lived up to the trust, but not always. Well, I mean, if you ruin your privileges of doing leather craft by slashing people with the sharp knives and the getting high, you're just going to take that away, and then what are you going to do in your prison? Wank for the rest of your life while you read philosophy books and try and turn yourself into an educated person of couth, which some of them manage to do, you know, which is a good thing. Do your time, educate yourself, figure out where you went wrong and where you went right. It is what it is, people of Earth. Constant process of winnowing the chaff from the wheat and evolving. Campbell once saw an inmate with a nasty gash that ran across his throat from ear to ear. Just, my hair's just, it looks great, doesn't it? What was done yesterday. It looks great, but I've slept on it, so we've already lost because my beautiful Kylie always straightens it for me and blow waves it straight, but it looks great. Did a wonderful job, Kylie, making the Mama T look, you know, her version of beautiful. Campbell inquired of a friend how that had happened, you know, from ear to ear. He was told that the man with the gash had been sitting in a barber's chair, Jesus, enjoying a soothing shave and chatting about a fellow inmate. The mellow man in the chair had said something to the effect of, "That guy's a stool pigeon," the last words he heard before he was rushed to the infirmary across the hall came from the barber behind him. "That's my partner," the barber said, putting the blade in motion. Much of Campbell's time in Collins Bay was spent in the weight room, where one of the stronger men was Jamie Scott Monroe. It's like seeing the same car on the road, you know, when you're in love with someone. Everywhere you go, you see their vehicle that they drive. Not necessarily their actual vehicle or them driving it, but, you know, the same make and model and the same colour, and you do a double take and then you realise, no, it's a different number plate. Well, I'm not being followed, I'm not being stalked, but it's that energy. It's like they're with you even when they're not actually with you. It's odd. So I notice in this book that particular name keeps resurfacing like a dead needle. Neat, 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 neat. And yes, when I'm on the road, I see his vehicle everywhere. And like, honestly, what's that about? The man who never loved me and didn't have my back. So the spirits know something I don't. Unfinished business, babies. The Mama T got unfinished business, but I'm finishing it. Because I need a healthy lover who's healthy and kind and honouring and chooses me. That's what I need. And it'll happen one day. One day it will happen. Probably after I've written several books and I don't feel like such a failure and a loser. Because that's why the vermin keep coming, to ride on me like fleas. They can smell the taint of failure and they want to kick me when I'm down. Vermin is what they are. They don't know that I'm so good at failing that in that I'm actually a fucking queen and a success. So bites them back. They get poisoned by their own leeching and feeding. And it's a beautiful thing, because if that, you know, when that was their intention from the very beginning, you get what you bite off, babies. Anyway, the Mama T, she's a catalyst, always has been too. Catalyses you right into the next groove, babies. Grooving. Moving on up, moving on out. like a centrifuge in the, hurdy-gurdy ride in the amusement park. Like they used to have at Luna Park when we were kids. Those of you who lived in Melbourne. That ride, you got in and just spun you and you just found yourself floating up the wall, involuntarily climbing the walls, being centrifuged out. Oh, I loved that as a child. It was a metaphor for my life even then. By the gods. I used to be so disappointed when they'd slow that machine down and we'd slump back down to earth and sit there looking at each other. What happened? It's science, Tanya. Science. Something to do with gravity. I was well impressed. Even as a child, it took a fair bit to impress me, you understand, because living as I did with vicious idiots. He gave Campbell one of his first haircuts in Collins Bay. Jamie Scott Munro. He said, it's funny that this is the topic about getting hair done since I got my hair done yesterday. He said, how do you want your hair done, Lorne? I said, make me look as much like Charles Bronson as you can. There are many big muscular guys in here. It was jailhouse humour. From then on, Jamie cut my hair all the time I was in Collins Bay. Munro's pleasant demeanour was at odds with his horrific backstory. He was just 22 in 1981 when he was sentenced to life in prison without eligibility for parole for 12 years. The judge who put him away, Mr. Justice Frank Callaghan, called Munro's crime one of the most callous killings of a police officer this municipality had seen for many years. Munro and his older brother Craig were convicted of the murder of Toronto Police Constable Michael Sweet during a botched robbery at George's Bourbon Street Tavern on Queen Street West on March 14, 1980. It was a breathtakingly stupid, cold crime. Jamie and Craig were robbing the tavern. They were trying to raise $1,000 to pay a fine against Craig for possession of a dangerous weapon. Sweet was 30 years old and the father of 3 daughters when he was patrolling Toronto's downtown that night. Just after 2 in the morning, a restaurant employee flagged down Sweet and his partner, telling them there was an armed robbery underway and there had been hostages taken. Sweet and his partner tried to sneak into the restaurant through the basement, but they were detected. Sweet was shot in the chest while his partner was able to escape and alert reinforcements. Sweet's injuries were serious, but there was still time to save him when the emergency task force arrived quickly on the scene, led by Sergeant Edward Eddie Adamson. His paramilitary officers were ready to rush into the restaurant, but they were ordered to stand down as negotiations began. For the next 90 minutes, Adamson and his fellow officers heard Sweet plead to be set free so that his 3 little girls wouldn't grow up without a father. Oh God, I remember thinking that when I was being strangled by the first entity, Dale Johnson, that evil little drug-fucked motherfucker. The very last thought before I came close, very close to death. What's going to happen to my children, surrounded by all those fucking pedophiles? How am I going to, who's going to keep them safe if I die right here, right now? And I swear before all the gods, something shifted in his eyes. Maybe he saw that I'd reached acceptance and I was no longer fighting. I was out for the count, just on the brink of unconsciousness. Dear God, I said, my poor little girls, dear God. This was inside my mind you, because I was being choked to death. And he let me go. All of a sudden, randomly, out of eyes swirling in his head, out of his mind he was, animal that he was. He let me go. And I just looked in amazement. I thought, who stepped in just then when I said, dear God, what about my little girls? And I was spared. Not for my own sake, but for the sake of my daughters. So I understand exactly how that police officer felt, knowing he was about to leave his little girls behind, unprotected. Eventually, as negotiations dragged on, Sweet's voice went quiet. Eddie Adamson was the second casualty of that evening, but the bullet that killed him wouldn't be fired for another quarter century. Adamson couldn't stop thinking about Sweet and the Monroe brothers and the sound of Sweet's voice as he died that morning. He couldn't outrun his sense of guilt for not risking his career and rushing into the restaurant sooner, despite the order to stand down from his senior officer. Should have followed your intuition. Some orders are meant to be defied. It's what people who are herd animals and indoctrinated don't understand. Sometimes you were meant to stand in your own personal authority and defy those bullshit orders. On October 5th, I've read enough Holocaust books to know how that works actually. Can literally mean the difference between life and death. But it takes courage and couth and honour and integrity and sometimes a sacrifice too. Doesn't always work out. But I'd rather die on my feet than crawl on my fucking knees like an animal at the mercy of some fucking psychopath. Mama T has spoken. On October 5th, 2005, 11 years after his retirement, that's why I take no orders from anyone. There's a reason for it. Lots of reasons for it, actually. Eddie Adamson gathered up some notebooks and press clippings about Sweet, whoever sent me back into life that day, 15th of January 1995, my first strangulation. Whoever returned me built me back, more powerful than I'd ever been at almost 30. Showed me we kept you alive for a reason, Tanya Aarons. Don't fuck it up. I lost years, I lost decades in a trauma state. But you know what? I don't believe I fucked it up. Not really. Even my psych told me that in my debrief on Wednesday. Everything you are, everything you were, everything you will ever be, you did all by yourself, Tanya. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm proud of you too, Brian, for being a wonderful psychiatrist and for standing beside me and guiding me through life. It's been awful. It's been real. It's been torture at times. Real, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual torture. But because of you and your stubbornness, stoicism, the Mama T's alive, still reading stories on YouTube, and I'll always be my brand of crazy because that too is how I've survived. But on a good day, I can smell my better life incoming, and it's because of you, Brian. Not just you, but you've been a very significant, powerful influence over me. And that fucking CPAP that my body fights every day, when I don't have a lurgy going on my chest, it's starting to work. It's starting to work on me. I just don't want to be dependent, but I guess my lungs, my chest, my body, the way it is, it's just going to be how it's going to be, isn't it? Anyway, the Mama T, the rhinoceros beetle, will scrabble and fight her way through as she always does. And I'm grateful for the people out there who actually love me. I am very grateful. He also took his handgun with him to a motel room in Simcoe County where he ended his life. It's a shame, isn't it? All he had to do was step in back in the day, and that could have all been avoided. About, choices we make in the heat of the moment, life or death, right or wrong, do or die, don't do, die anyway. Ultimately, it all comes down to fate. And a bit of courage, and a bit of couth. Mama T will be doing the mosh till the day she dies. It's how I express myself. The dance must continue, babies. I want to dance on Friday for the Mike Beale Band. Well, specifically for Tim Bishop, who I danced for when he replaced Juddy when Juddy was off. So he's very, very sick in his own life-threatening battle with cancer. And Tim Bishop is a wonderful musician and a fine, gentle man who, in those 4 months when he was playing bass and covering for our Juddy, was very kind to me. Him and his wife Katie, I have not forgotten, and I want to support you in your new band, Tim, I've been meaning to come to your gigs for a while, but this time I don't think I'll make it this Friday because my lungs are still a bit wispy and tickety-boo, but I haven't forgotten, and you will be supported by the Mama T, because I never forget a true friend who's heartfelt and genuine. To you, Tim and Katie Bishop. Just wanted to put that out there because Mama T stands by the truth and she sees who's genuinely being kind and honouring. A fine, fine musician and a fine, fine man. Goddess bless. Campbell didn't know any of this when Munro was cutting his hair that day in Collins Bay. He also didn't know that on the day he was sentenced for killing Sweet, Jamie Munro softly told the court, "When people used to ask me, 'How do you feel about this incident?' I used to lower my eyes and drop my head in shame because I felt there were no words that could express how very sorry I felt for the officer and his family and mine. I wish there was some way I could undo this whole thing, but unfortunately, I can't." Had he tried to explain, Munro might have mentioned his upbringing and how 8 of the Munro children had criminal records, as did their father. It's quite cold, I have to shut the window. It's cold, little Kermie boy. What do you say? You singing? Are you the singing boy? Oh, you singing to the Mama T? Hello. You gonna have a kissy kissy? Are you my boy? Are you my boy? I know. You're so beautiful. You're the beautiful boy. I know. He's telling me, he says, "I want to go outside in the sunshine, Mama." "You will today, my love, but not now. It's too cold. I don't want my birdies to get sick and die on me. I'd be fucking devastated. So you gotta just wait till Mama T decides that it's warm enough for us to sit out there in the sunshine." Yes, it's happening. It's happening. Yes, I know you love it when we go out there. I know you do. And little Bobo loves it too. Don't you, Bo? Yes, you little Bo. Oh, my handsome boys. You see, the birdies know. They know what they're entitled to. Fresh air and sunshine. It's good for them. It's good for the Mama T. It's good for all of us. Oh, wow. I'm feeling feeling very glamorous today. Not bad for a constantly dying woman. Whew, holy hell. Right. When I'm not dying, it's formidable. Right, where were we? Yes, 8 of the Munro children had criminal records. I wonder how many children there were. That implies that there were more than 8. But anyway, as did their father. But Munro didn't talk about the murder while behind bars. He was considered a pleasant guy in the weight room and a friendly barber who kept his thoughts to himself. He was a good guy. I liked him. He worked out a lot. Campbell was reunited in Collins Bay with his old mentor Bernie Gendon. Gendon hadn't mellowed much while serving his drug conviction. Between his boxing and his brawling, his nose had been broken 18 times. What the fuck is with that? Like, seriously. Men. Some are just suckers for punishment, aren't they? Wow. To the point that it was difficult to breathe. You think? He hoped that would be corrected through an operation that left his beak taped up and filled with gauze. He was in this painful state of recovery one day when a tall girl in her early teens came walking by as part of a group of Special Olympians who were at an event hosted by the inmate committee. It was considered a personal growth thing, with prisoners helping coordinate their events and awarding them medals. The girl apparently had Tourette's syndrome and made sudden jerky movements with her arms. When she was close to Gendon, oh dear goddess, oh you shouldn't laugh, it's not funny. When she was close to Gendon, one of her arms flew out wildly and smashed him directly on the nose. That gave the frog his 19th broken nose. Ouch! You do that again and I'll kill you, hissed Gendon, his eyes watering from the blow. The Special Olympian marched away. She knew what she was doing, Gendon recalls, without a trace of a smile. She probably did, you know. That was nasty. Really nasty. Oh my God, watching the zombies doing their morning walk. It's astonishing. I shouldn't judge though, because I should be walking too, because I'm getting fatter and eating too many carbs, and it's carbicide. It's carbicide. My beautiful, handsome, talented friend and brother, Jared, and I looked at him on, when did I see him? Sunday. He's so skinny, but his legs, he's got beautiful legs. He's always had beautiful legs on a man. They're really shapely, beautiful legs. They're like mine, except longer because he's taller and he's a man, you know, longer, you know, man's legs. But he's got, well, he won't mind me telling YouTube because it's true, and I've always told him that. He's got fucking beautiful legs. Sometimes for shits and giggles when we sit, there was one time last year, I think it was, we sat at Wynnum Beach and I took a photo of both our legs. Mine are fatter, you know, more round around the calves because I'm fat. But they're very similar in shape, and we've got similar shaped feet too. He really is a brother from another mother. Just, you know, the similarity is our beautiful shaped legs. And I kind of laugh about it, but it's not funny. Like, I'm not mocking about it. But I'm laughing because it's cute. Anyway, he walks towards me and he's just had his legs just, they're all toned and muscular because he works hard walking on his job 5 hours a day at shift. 5 hours of walking. But he loves walking, you know. He can walk for miles. When he takes me to Byron or, you know, through the mountains, you nearly fucking kill me, Jared. But he knows that. He knows it. He just walks and walks and walks and walks and walks, and I'm straggling behind, and invariably I have to sit down, Jared, or I'm going to pass out. Oh, I'm such a pain in his ass. Like, I really drag him down. It's why we don't see each other too often, because I'm too much for him now that I've gotten older. I'm a pain in his ass. But anyway, he comes towards me and all handsome, slim and toned, and you know, he's 53, turning 54 now, but he'll be 54 next month. And you know, I look at him and he looks, I mean, obviously he's an older person now, but he looks just how he looked when I first met him when he was 21. You know, I mean, add a bit of few wrinkles and few changes with aging, but he's as slim as he was then. Actually, when he was 21, he was even skinnier. A little bit too skinny. I used to worry about him. And he'd go clubbing because he was a kid, 21, for the love of all the gods. And he'd come to work in my business that I had with my husband, and he'd turn up, and in his break he'd put his head down and he'd just pass out, be out for the count. Jared, this is not very professional, I'd say. I know, Tanya, but I clubbed all night and I'm so tired. I don't even know how I'm working. Look, I get it. I've got chronic fatigue too. I know how that goes. I said, just sleep, but try and be discreet. Don't make the place look untidy. Oh, he used to get away with a lot with me because I had a soft spot for him, because we kind of recognised each other's souls. We were both trauma survivors. And, you know, when you know, and you look after each other and you protect each other as best as you can. And even then he was like my little brother, and we'd be standing in my shop, the two of us working on a Tuesday night, which was meant to be the quietest night of the week, which is why my husband rostered me on that night with just Jared to do the cooking and support me in that role. And it got so fucking insanely busy because everyone there in Capalaba loved my wild, expansive, extraneous, soul-bleeding, overt, mad personality. And so what used to be the quietest night of the week suddenly became one of the busiest nights. And there'd be Jared frantically cooking up all the, you know, the short orders, all the chips, the fries, and I'd be screaming, more fries, Jared, more fries. And there would be a line out the door, out the front of my shop, my business, out the door and down the road. I'd be like, fuck. And I didn't do the cooking because I'm not really a cook. But I'd be in there, head down, cutting up all the hot chickens, rotisserie chickens, and screaming more chips. And then I'd be rushing to put more chips on too. And we'd have things going like microwave. And both of us, our hair would literally be standing on end. I had perms in those days, so my hair really did stand on end. And I'd be like this. Which was not very professional. And the people, I'd be like, I'm so sorry, I'm very busy, it's going to take 10 minutes. And so we'll wait. People loved it. And then they would sit back while they were waiting for their orders. Honestly, it was a bit like a comedy routine, because Jared and I would just be sparking off each other on our last nerve, really frantic, trying to perform our roles of providing food for the good people of Capalaba, or trying to keep our heads together and staying sane in a berserker mode. Sometimes I'd have to ring my then husband and say, I need someone now, get them down now, it's nuts down here. A few times we had to shut the shop early because we ran out of chickens, because Michael would only put on a certain amount of chickens thinking it would be a quiet night. And I'd be like, fuck, how much money did we miss out on tonight because we fucking ran out of chickens? So then I wouldn't know whether to be mad at myself, more mad at my husband, or more mad that like I wasn't actually coping. I mean, I only worked part-time in our business. But I also had, you know, two tiny little children, and I was also driving them to school, 80-minute round trip a day. And then I'd come, you know, the Tuesday shift, I'd come from picking my kids up all the way in Burbank at Sinai College, back to my business in Capalaba. And, you know, their father would take them home, and I'd continue with my shift, and Jared would come in and we'd work together. And I'd be out of my mind, people of Earth, because it was, Tuesday was, for me, was a 12-hour shift, because I worked during the day as well, pick up the kids and bring them home, take them to school. So by the end of like halfway through Tuesday night shift, I'd be out of my mind. I'd be flying all over the place, but not in a good way, like right off my trolley I'd be, and I'd be trying to rein it in, because, you know, when I was a young woman, I had a hellishly dangerous, bordering on psychotic temper, you know, and if it happened to be that time of the month as well, I'd be fucking PMDDing, which was dangerous. Oh, look, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. And then my poor, beautiful Jared. You know, he really loved me, that boy. He was a young man, but he was still really, you know, really young and naive. And he'd turn up in the shop and he'd just look at me, take one look. What do you mean, It's your time of the month. How do you know? I can tell by the look in your eye. Oh, Jesus, Jared. I said, even my stupid husband hasn't worked that out. He says, oh, by the gods, it's going to be a wild night tonight, Tanya. Yes, it is, Jared. I'm fit to be tied. But don't worry, I said. We'll laugh and we'll cry and we'll hold hands across the multiverse and we'll make it happen. And we did. We always did. We were a good team working together, him and I. We really were. Even my husband recognised it. He'd get a bit jealous sometimes. Not that we ever had anything romantic going on, you know, never. But he'd just get jealous. And he was like, how is it that you work so well with Jared, but you and I can't work together? I said, it's because I see you every day, isn't it? Don't push it. Don't push it, Michael. By the gods. The marriage was to all intents and purposes already over when we bought that business in 1990, but I was in denial. I dragged that marriage out for the 5 years that I was in that business. Dragged it out like a corpse. I was breathing life into it, trying to keep my little family together and trying to provide stability for my little babies, my daughters. And then I realised there was no stability. It was all built on illusion. There was nothing holding that together but my sheer grit and determination and wanting a better life for my kids. And well, when it all ended, I got strangled a third time, and it cost my daughters dear, losing everything, including their mama's sanity for a while there, in a constant trauma state, unable to function. Those dirty bastards cost me dear. And the best that Davidson can do is float around from time to time and say, sorry. Doesn't fix anything, does it? Anyway, how did I get on to talking about Jared being so handsome like when he was 21 and his beautiful legs? I don't know. It's a bit odd, isn't it? But what was I reading when I went into that little segue? Oh. Don't know what happened there. Do you know what happened, people of Earth? I don't know either. But Tanya, unraveling. She's unraveling. Anyway, thank you, Jared, for standing by me for 33 years, and thank you, Lynn, for standing by me for 37, and thank you, Brian, for standing by me in your professional capacity. It'll be 15 years in October. 15 years, Doctor. 15 years. And my beautiful hairdresser, Kylie, yesterday, she's been listening to me, regaling her with my wild and wonderful stories since 2011. So that's also 14 years. Long timers. Long timers. Right. One of the senior guards in Collins Bay had once been a striker for the Satan's Choice. And no, I haven't forgotten you, Margaret Jacovat, who I met when I was 9 years old. So what's that? 51 years of friendship. 51 years. You and Lynn Robertson would have been the longest timers of all. Unfortunately, we don't communicate or see each other that often, but I know you're there, cheering me on. Love you, my darling girl. Her mother and father, her mother was Croatian. I think her father was Slovenian, or was he Croatian too? Can't remember. But she's definitely Croatian, her mum. Her mum was a wonderful fortune teller, wonderful psychic. Anyway, she would have laughed at the video the other day when I was talking about my former friend Pedro Predrag and the Serbian. She would have been laughing her ass off because she knows how it is with the old country. And she speaks fluent Croatian too, but she studied it at university to make sure she knew all the grammar and could write it and speak it. And she's a journalist by profession, and she actually went to Croatia, but she was there for the Bosnian War, which was just starting to break out. And her mother, Sophia, rang me here in Brisbane. She said, it was unusual for her to ring me, actually. Very rarely did she contact me. She must have got my number from my mother, Gisela. And, which was okay, because we're long-time friends, by the gods. She rings me, she says, darling, my daughter, she is in Zagreb, in our hometown in Croatia. I'm very frightened for her. They are on the brink of war. And I did not come here to Australia with my husband and, so that my daughter could go home to Croatia for another war. And I'm very, very frightened. I said, she's gone there to find a husband, Sophia. You should be happy. She wants a husband. She wants a Croatian husband. She wants to keep it Crow. Yes. I think this good idea too, but now there is war, Tanya. You don't understand what it's like in Europe when they have wars. Well, I do actually, I said, because Gisela and Case. I understand more than most, even though I didn't actually experience it firsthand. Yes, yes, you know, it's why I'm ringing you. I beg you, I beg you. My daughter, my Magicha, she won't come home. She wants a husband. Look, I can understand this. Every woman wants her own husband and someone from her own culture who understands her. It's normal. Yes, yes, but she got plenty of time. Why now? Why now when there's war? And she starts crying, you know. I beg you, call her or write to her, she says. Tell her to come home. She won't listen to me, her mother. Who listens to their mother? No one. She's right about that. When you're in your... How old was she then, my friend Margaret? Late 20s, something like that. Early 30s? No. Well, anyway, I can't remember how old she was. But anyway, her mother was freaking the fuck out. And her mother was psychic too. She had the gifts, so she knew exactly what was... Not just because she was an intelligent woman and she knows how the Europeans go when they blow up, literally, into war. But she knew. She said, I'm crying every day, I'm crying. She won't come home, she won't listen to me. I said, well, it's probably a matter of pride, not wanting to come home with your tail between your legs and abandon a war. And career-wise, it's a great opportunity to be there. It's a war correspondent. That could be the making of her career-wise. There are no medals on a dead body, Tanya. It means nothing. She's right about that too. I start freaking out, you know. I start freaking out too. So I don't know what I said, or maybe Margaret got a little bit scared herself and could see the sense of it. I don't know what it was, but anyway, I rang her. Or did I ring her or write to her? I said, I'm begging you, Margaret, that whole place is about to go up in flames and you're right in the middle of it. Yes, but it's my career. It's my career. It's going to be the making of men. I said, there's no medals for dead men, dead women. I want you home, I want you so. But I'm looking for a husband, Tanya, someone who speaks my mother tongue, my language, my culture. I want a Crow husband. She really did at the time, and I understood, you know. So I said, come home. If it's meant to be, you'll go back again and when things calm down. And when everything's fine, and you'll find yourself a husband, or they'll find you, because something's come down to destiny. If it's meant to be, it'll happen, my darling. But your mother has asked me actually to call you and says you won't listen to her. And I said, I get it. Who listens to their mother? I said, but your mother is crying and beside herself with fear. And I said, she barely survived Croatia in World War II and she's fearful for you. I said, take my advice, come home. Well, fortunately for Margaret, she decided to come home, and just as she was moving out of Zagreb, they were closing the fucking borders. She almost didn't make it to Hungary. They were shutting the borders as she would reach. They were just starting to... She barely scraped out of there. Thank the goddess she got out. Can you imagine an Australian citizen journalist in the middle of all that bloodshed and war. Anyway, we got her home. She came home of her own free will ultimately, you know, because she's not a child, but we did apply a bit of pressure. And we got her home. A few months go by. It took her a while to re-establish herself here too, you know. She had a good job over there. She was doing well. But then war, you know, wars happen and you can't control that. And her mother rings me up. I'm so grateful to you, Tanya. You saved my daughter's life. I said, no, I didn't do anything. She just listened to good common sense. And I said, she's not an idiot. She would have seen it was getting dangerous as fuck over there and they were starting to shut down the borders. She got out in the nick of time. I said it was luck and it was destiny. No, her mother said, it was you. She said, you saved her. You were determined like me. Thank you. Oh, anyway, mothers, how we worry for our children. Youth is wasted on the young. They don't always realise how many livers we've eaten and what it's cost us to get our kids through. They're oblivious. They've got no idea. None. No idea at all. Anyway, maybe that's a good thing. Could they live with the guilt and the shame of treating their mothers so shittily if they actually knew what we went through for them? Anyway. Margaret was lucky though. Her mother loved her with everything she had. And she told me last time we were together, she said, my father loved us so much that she's got 2 sisters, so there were 3 little girls. She said, we didn't have a lot of money and both my parents worked hard. And father worked for I think he worked for the train, on the trains. Don't know what he was doing exactly. Wasn't a train driver, but something to do with the trains. Anyway, she said he would come home from work and he'd be all dirty and dishevelled and, you know, really hard working and his face would be all grey from exhaustion. And she said, but he'd throw the door open, put the key in the door, he'd open the door, and she said, and he'd scream out, where are my little girls? Where are my little girls? And he'd open his arms wide with such joy and delight, and all 3 of his little daughters, Margaret and what's his sister's names? I've forgotten. By the gods. Anyway, all 3 of them, they were little, you know, would run into his arms screaming, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. And he'd embrace all 3 of them in his arms and he'd hug and squeeze them. And she said it was genuine joy and delight to be home with his little girls. And you know what? I'm ashamed to admit I was a bit jealous of that, because when my husband came home from work with my little girls, our little girls, what the fuck are these kids still doing? I don't want to see their faces. Get them out of my face. That's how I knew we had to leave. Not only did he have no love and respect for me, but he had no love and respect for his little girls either. Time to go. Bing, bam, boom, baby. But Sophie's husband, I don't remember his name, Mr. Jakovac, He was a real man and a real father to his daughters. A good and decent, hard-working, loving man. And that's why Margaret's a successful journalist, education writer. It made all the difference to building her back better. Having good, loving parents is the greatest gift, especially a woman can have. Having good father role modelling, good fathers who love you and who you're safe with and who never molest you or denigrate you or treat you like you're nothing. Real men with real heart and real soul. They're the ones that you choose as fathers for your children. Unfortunately, I didn't choose well. Repeated some god-awful fucking patterning, and it's not fair, but it is what it is. Anyway, the bitterness has to slide away because it serves no purpose, and ultimately it'll just kill me and shorten my lifespan. And I've done well to get to 60 alone, unsupported by many and unloved by many and misunderstood by many. Didn't walk in my shoes, darlings. Got no fucking idea. But every now and then in my walk in life, I supported people to make sure their kids were okay, because that's what you do. Nurture and protect and co-parent at times, quietly from the background, unobtrusively. Yes, that's how it is sometimes. One of the senior guards at Collins Bay had once been a striker for the Satan's Choice. He seemed to have a soft spot for the club, even if he was no longer part of it. Certainly no guards under him objected or even seemed to notice when Gendon hosted a party of some 18 inmates in his cell. Long gone were the days when Gendon threatened to take a baseball bat to anyone in his fold who dabbled with drugs. Now Gendon was the master of frog logs, his extra strong hash oil cigarettes. His special recipe called for 29 rolling papers, each saturated with oil that was heated up in a hot plate made of burning toilet paper stuffed around the rim of his metal toilet. Gross, but they were powerful and they were consistent, just like a good biker in Gendon's road days. One frog log will last you 35 minutes, Gendon boasts. The guards knew about the frog logs, but didn't seem to care. They were far more concerned about prisoners cooking eggs in their cells than puffing mega joints. Eggs in the... you have to laugh. Eggs in the prisoner's possession must have been stolen from the cafeteria. Cannabis, meanwhile, only made prisoners passive and less prone to violence. It was different for pills and moonshine, as they tended to make prisoners aggressive. Valiums and booze are no-nos, says Gendon. It was inside Collins Bay that Campbell smoked his first and only joint behind bars. It happened while listening to the music of blues man Stevie Ray Vaughan. Campbell played some guitar himself, and that only helped him appreciate Vaughan's mastery of the instrument. He was so overwhelmed that he threw his earphones across the room for a reason he still cannot explain. I was so high, I thought he was playing 3 guitars at once. Oh, you have to laugh. When Campbell arrived in Collins Bay, some guards there still chuckled about a story from Gendon's boxing days back in the 1970s, when 2 guards from the prison took him to Windsor for a bout. After Gendon won his fight, they all retired to a party at the Choice Clubhouse. I wanted to get a broad down there, Gendon recalls. I said to them, "I'll get you one too." The guards thought this was a fine idea. We partied at the clubhouse on a pass, Gendon says. When it was done, the guards were so partied out and exhausted that it was Gendon who drove them all back to Kingston. Gendon took it upon himself to train Campbell. He told Campbell that hard abs were the key to protecting his kidneys from body blows. Yes, that makes sense. To toughen his core, Gendon coached Campbell to do plenty of hard calisthenics, although the tough core work the Cubans had so impressed him with, including the tough core walk the Cubans had so impressed him with back in the 1971 Pan Am Games. Then there was 20 minutes of skipping and a 6.5-mile run. Gendon sometimes tried to spice things up during workouts. Once he kicked Campbell hard when he was doing push-ups, just because he felt the urge. Everybody backed away. They thought it was a fight. I couldn't stop laughing. Another time, Gendon smacked Campbell across the stomach with a board while he was doing his leg raises. I had him in the best shape of his life, Gendon says. Sounds bloody painful to me. Oh well. Mama T will probably never have abs. Although, stranger things have been known to happen. Get enough plenty frequent good sex and the abs happen naturally, babies. I'm joking about that. Well, no, I'm half joking about that. Let me just say it's a long time since I had abs. Well, I'm a real woman. You gotta laugh. Campbell paid the experience forward, pushing a fellow Collins Bay resident, career thug and former pro boxer Joe Donato, aka Gabor Magashtovics, and Joe Simon, to get back in shape. Donato was in his early 40s and had packed on about 20 pounds since the 1960s, when he boxed under the nickname Iron Man and enjoyed moderate success as a heavyweight out of Toronto's Lansdowne Athletic Club. Here comes the rubbish collecting man. He was described in the press during his ring days as 211 pounds, 6 foot 4 inches, wedge-shaped from shoulders to waist. Ah, yes. His trainer, Vince Bagnato, was quoted as saying, "We're teaching him to keep his hands in his pockets when he doesn't have them in someone's kisser." Donato was in prison this time for the robbery of a jewellery store in Toronto's swanky Yorkville neighbourhood. But his criminal record also included stretches for arson, forgery, assault, theft, and weapons offences. "What you doing, my little..." "Oh, look, he's swinging. He's swinging and he's Tweety-birding. He loves his swing. Yes, he does love his swing. He's a happy birdie." "What you doing, Kermie?" "Oh, your swing stopped swinging. What are you going to do now? You going to make it swing again? Make it swing. Good boy." Right, where were we? His body bore the scars of an arson gone wrong when he had to drive himself to hospital for treatment of burns. In the murder trial of Peter Demeter, a Mississauga millionaire developer, Donaldo told the court that in July 1973, Demeter's wife, Christina, a former model, offered him $10,000 to kill her husband. A week after she allegedly made the offer, she was found in the garage of their home, bludgeoned to death with a crowbar. It was part of prison law how, back in the 1970s, Donato and Ken Gooby of The Choice had a bare-knuckle brawl worthy of John L. Sullivan. Perhaps they were angry at each other, or perhaps they were just curious to know who was the better fighter, or perhaps it was a little of both. Whatever the case, it was a great fight. The older white guys are probably still talking about it. The black guys didn't care. They fought to a draw. The guards just let them go. Apparently it was something. No rounds, no rules, no timekeeper, no winner. But I did hear it lasted half an hour or so. The thing that stands out in everyone's mind is that they fought to a draw. I believe they were friends after that. Campbell got Donato running along with bikers Paul Rogers and Tom Ramier. I got him out there. I told him, "You're out of shape. The guys who run in jail run every day. It's an everyday thing." I'm thinking about, I don't do running. I'm a Viking. We run from no one. But I'm thinking about walking every day when the weather warms up and my lungs settle back down. I've got to build myself up. Got to build back better and stronger and wilder and wiser and more beautiful than ever before. Eat healthier. But by the gods, I enjoyed that feed last night. It was delicious. Still dreaming about it. Isn't that odd? Shows you how sick I am. Campbell pushed himself into shape to run a 20-kilometre race on the track. And Larry Valentine was a trainer of sorts. Valentine had the duty of handing him water where necessary. Most of the time, Valentine lay on his back, swigging moonshine, enjoying the spectacle as Campbell pounded around the track. At the halfway point, he goes, "Well, you're downhill now." I felt like kicking him in the head. Instead, Campbell shot his friend a dirty look. He didn't catch the stare. Campbell finished the race in third. There was also a chance to work off some aggression playing floor hockey. Fewer inmates at Collins Bay were killers than at Millhaven, so players could fight without worrying so much that it would necessarily lead to murder. In floor hockey, that's where you'd see the fights. Really nice fights. Just fights all over the place, kicking each other in the head. The guards just let it go. I didn't play, but I was a good spectator. In the pen, guys take it very seriously. After one hard-fought 1-0 victory over one block, Larry Valentine of 3 block seized banners that read "1 block's number 1" and set them ablaze. The guards let this go too. There were 2 gyms on the same floor at Collins Bay. Campbell was skipping in one of them one afternoon when 3 inmates walked in. Campbell didn't pay them much attention as he was focusing on his workout regimen, which at that time consisted of the military 5BX plan, plus running and skipping. The 3 men were clearly serious, but Campbell wasn't about to be intimidated. He was doing his workout and just wanted to be left alone. He started skipping towards a barbell bar that might make a handy club if things got ugly. Larry Valentine came in another entrance, away from the 3 men and close to Campbell. "Lorne, you've got to leave," he said. "Lorne, you've got to leave," Valentine repeated. Campbell kept skipping closer to the barbell. "Lorne, there's a dead guy in the next room," Valentine said. Suddenly it made sense, and Campbell almost ran back to his cell. The 3 strangers didn't want to do anything to him. They had just beaten someone to death with dumbbells in the adjoining gym, and now they wanted a quiet place to talk. Not long after that, the prison detective squad came by Campbell's cell to ask if he knew anything about the killing. "Well, I know somebody was killed. Were you here when it happened?" "I was in the other gym." "Do you know anything about this?" "Well, I know he was only 19 and never should have been sent here in the first place." Campbell later heard that the kid was killed because he told someone in a county jail to go fuck himself. That inmate made up a story about the kid and told it to other inmates. Thinking they were carrying out prison justice, the 3 men bet the kid to death. Campbell wasn't about to rat out the killers, but he couldn't help but feel bad for the kid who died. This is what I mean about Chinese whispers and raging borderlines who spread stories about one and turn your own friends against you in the music industry because they're jealous, vicious, petty cunts. And I have a fairly good idea who they are too. But it's that kind of stupidity that gets innocent people killed. You understand? Not just in the jail system, but out in the real world too. Stupidity. Just have to shake my head. Campbell was an organiser of the prison powerlifting competition. It was a serious event and spotters signed up in advance to help out, moving the barbells as needed and, if necessary, lifting them off the lifters. Campbell was an organiser for the prison powerlifting competition. It was a serious event and spotters signed up in advance to help out, moving the barbells as needed and, if necessary, lift. Did I read that before? I apologise. I'm drifting. I did read that paragraph before. Right, here we go. Back in the room, babies. Caught myself out at least. There was one extremely powerful inmate who hadn't signed up as a competitor or as a spotter. He was in and out of shock therapy and a hard man to understand or predict. Well, shock therapy will do that to you. Nasty. But it can help. It can help. It can help, but it's a nasty process. I want to be a spotter, he told Campbell on the day of the event. We've already got our spotters. I want to be a spotter. Campbell knew he had to be careful with his tone and words, but he wasn't about to be bullied either. Listen, if you had talked to us even as late as yesterday, you could be a spotter, but we've already got our spotters now. I don't care. I want to be a spotter. There was no point extending the argument, and Campbell started to walk away. A couple of steps down the hall, he reminded himself that the matter hadn't really been settled. There are some wrongly accused people in prison, but there are plenty of others who truly must be separated from society. This man was clearly one of the latter. A lot of people are in there for a reason, Campbell says. Campbell wheeled round and glared at him, eye to eye. Don't even think about it. I'll slit your throat. thus concludes chapter 18 of Satan's Choice. It's been real, it's been interesting, it's been intense, it's been walk down memory lane for the mama tea. Been a few odd segues again, but I'm doing better today. And it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day, my angel face boys. My angel face feathery boys. Bye. You want to go in the sacred space garden? Yes, he turned his head like this. He knows the word garden. You want to go in the garden, little baby? You want to go? Yeah, we're going to go, but not right now, but soon, okay? Mama needs a cup of tea and see how warm it is outside. It looks beautiful, but it can still be a bit brisk, so we'll just see. I don't know what the temperature is right now. We're 2 hours in. I don't even know what time it is. I started early, didn't I? So it'll be still early-ish. Anyway, many blessings to you all from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. Stay safe, stay happy, stay wild and free. Be kind to each other. Be in nature. Honour the trees and the beautiful earth beneath your feet. Try not to push up grass too prematurely, and stay in love with the ones who love you back and slough off the rest, beautiful people of planet Earth. And if you're a dancer, just keep dancing. If you're an artist, just keep creating and live your best life, and with harm to none, competition with none. Just let it all spiral up, spiral down, and find your 0 point field of everything Zen, babies. Everything Zen. Bye for now.